Diana. This is how Diana walks. Diana, Diana. I see a smile. Yes, indeed, says Diana. Now we will double check. She is embarrassed and scolding. This is an exceptional security consideration. I know I had a lot of security, but they were all in collusion and failed me at one decisive moment. Do you mean the accident? It's not an accident, it's a completely planned murder. For what? For what? There are many reasons here and many interests of different families. Feuding clans, interests of the crown, blood, honor. No one would have allowed me to simply leave. Either death or honor. Apparently that fate was chosen for me. Wait, you didn't choose your own fate. I felt it, but I didn't foresee it to that extent. I still hoped for humanity. But that is not for this family. It's not for the royal lineage. They are showing footage now. The crash. I was conscious for a long time, but I couldn't move a finger or speak or say a word. Help was simply slow in coming. So intentionally, so slowly, that I understood it was a deliberate aim. I had been a target for a long time. Essentially, they took my blood. Wait, what do you mean took your blood? I was only needed to raise the frequency of that royal blood. Nods her head and says very sadly and absently, Spencer knew. Did they succeed in their plan? Yes, they did. But you knew what you were getting into. I had no choice. I understood it was a fatal marriage and a fatal step from which there was no way back. But you could have refused. No, I couldn't. But we are not in the Middle Ages. They're in the Middle Ages, and you cannot imagine how strong the rituals there are. And everything is scheduled. Shows that for some reason she really wants to smoke. Strange. I never saw the princess with a cigarette, but she shows that for some reason there is no such smell. Yes, there are no smells, and that, of course, disorients us. Why weren't you buried like all the members of the royal family? The relatives intervened, said it was your will. Come on, my will hasn't been heard there for a long time. I got up and lived the schedule by the routine every day. I cannot not ask this question, because it worries very many people. I apologize in advance if it offends you. I know your question. How is the royal family connected to reptilian beings? Not the way David thought. This is a reference to David Icke, who looked into this topic. It's not literal transformation. There is a process of transmutation and transformation. These are magical rites that still take place to this day, but that doesn't mean a tail is peeking out from under a robe. So how do you explain it then? It's a telepathic magical connection on subtler bodies in other dimensions. All right, then next question. Is the queen, in principle, a human being? I cannot answer. Why can't you answer? Why are you afraid? You're not there in danger. They would get to me here too. If I cannot answer, I understand what the answer is. Those are your speculations, but I will refrain. All right. What resources do the reptilians pursue? What goals do the reptilians pursue? The same as other parasitic races, namely, consciousness, possession of resources. Is it true that children were used in these rituals? Yes. Were these children alive? It varies. Some were taken from hospices, some from orphan communities, foundations through foundations. If a foundation has a religious underpinning, it means there will be rituals involving children there. Why didn't you prevent this? You were somehow connected to children before. You worked with them before your marriage. There was no opportunity. They would have simply killed me earlier, and it wouldn't have benefited anyone. And they would have called me insane. Can you now, being in another density, disembodied, observe and monitor the activities of the royal family's life? Yes. Believe me, it brings me no joy or pleasure. But soon many myths will be shattered, and the sons won't be able to control it. They are sufficiently enslaved and were tired of it all from early childhood. Living in a castle, in a confined space, and obeying a ritual every minute, call it tradition, call it a schedule, it's very hard. On one hand, this family is visible to 1,000, a billion eyes. On the other hand, it is closed off, and in that closed-off part, suffer a little. All facades for show, all hats, all lace gloves, but there are no smiles there, haven't been for a long time, quiet silence. Everything is calculated, written down, listened to, but it's hard to believe this. The monarchy still unites people, especially the middle class and the older generation. They think that if they touch the hand, the coat of a royal person, then mercy will be upon them. They think we are stable. And when people see stability, they think it extends to the entire country. But there is no such place there anymore. For a long time, the bag with the window and with the wool is empty. I'm showing now how, like inflated bubbles in institutions, in big offices. Yes, that's how it is. It's hard to believe, but they show me and I'm just double-checking the information. And that one part, I think it concerns your hand, was somehow separately mummified, correct? For rituals, for conducting them, let's then call things by their proper names. Which cult was behind these rituals? It's the Masons. That's strange too. They diverged in opinions even internally. 5 men decide. Why didn't you leave the country then? Why didn't you make an official statement? I couldn't, and the children were the reason. And many threats. They would say insanity. I made up my mind. They are showing Camilla. She compares her now to a snake, as if she is crawling into their family. Yes, that's how it is. She very long, cold-bloodedly nurtured plans. When will this form of the kingdom, the monarchy, fall? And will it fall? Not soon, in about 20-30 years the first cracks will appear. Now everything is shaky, but it holds on an old foundation that is simply reinforced with blood, bones, and others' prayers. All these gatherings and prayers they urge people to do, it all goes to the strength and the egregore of the royal family. And what does the royal family give in return? They show photographs, Christmas cards. I see.